More pro-Hamas protests breaking out at Columbia University today, just after the Ivy League's interim president resigned over the funding fight with the Trump administration. CB Cotton is live at Columbia University with the latest. Hey, CB.
Hi, Nicole. Well, it costs anywhere from $80,000 to $150,000 a year to attend Columbia University. But, despite that sort of investment, a group of graduates came here today to denounce their time at the elite school by ripping up their diplomas.
Recently, Columbia began revoking the degrees of student protesters. Well, you can have mine back whenever you want.
These protesters are upset over the ongoing negotiations between the White House and Columbia as the Ivy League tries to get back hundreds of millions in federal funding pulled by the Trump administration, which said Columbia failed to protect Jewish students during the ongoing protest over the Israel-Hamas war. Dr. Katrina Armstrong, who helped lead these negotiations, is now stepping down and returning back to her old job with the Ivy League. It comes after a series of reports about closed-door meetings where faculty were left concerned that Armstrong was presenting one message to the White House while internally downplaying the policy changes to colleagues. Armstrong, she tried to save face, calling those reports unequivocally false, but it appears it was not enough. And now Board of Trustees co-chair Claire Shipman has been named the acting interim president, and Columbia says she'll serve until the board completes its presidential search. She's a former TV journalist and co-author for several books on women's empowerment. Her husband is Jay Carney. You may remember he's the press secretary for former President Barack Obama. Now, the chaos for Columbia's leadership comes as Mahmoud Khalil, the Columbia graduate and pro-Palestinian activist, remains behind bars in Louisiana. DHS says he led activities aligned with Hamas here at Columbia. His attorneys, though, deny that allegation. Back to you, Nicole.
Hey, CB, do we know what the Trump administration demands were that the university actually agreed to that kind of is starting or sparking these protests?
Yeah, Nicole, so the Trump administration wanted to see a new mask ban, new protest rules, and new security officers with the power to arrest or remove some of these student protesters. Columbia University agreed and made these concessions because what we saw during a lot of the protests last year is that some of these students and even outside agitators would come on campus and they would hide behind these masks and commit acts of violence in some cases, especially towards property on campus, leaving students, Jewish students especially, very, very scared.
Hey, CB, let me ask you about the change. I know we read that there was a change in leadership over at Columbia, and the new interim president is someone that I think a lot of people who watch TV news in particular may be familiar with. What can you tell us about that change at the top?
Well, Claire Shipman, yes, she has been named the new interim president here at Columbia. And right now, negotiations are still going on between the Ivy League and the White House. So she will step up to help lead those negotiations now. And what we do know is that the federal task force to combat anti-Semitism released a statement just yesterday saying that they feel the Board of Trustees took the right step by naming her, especially when it came to light and media reports that the previous interim president, Katrina Armstrong, might have been presenting a different image privately about how she felt on these concessions.
CB, Lisa Booth here. Well, first of all, you've done such a great job covering all these protests. We saw some of the protests last year. They became violent. How do those compare to what you've seen this year?
Lisa, I would say the tone is definitely stepped down this year. And for all the criticism that the Trump administration has taken about its crackdown on these protests, it appears it has worked in the sense of bringing the temperature down on campuses across the country. Whether you agree or disagree with the crackdown, we are noticing that when protests do happen, especially here at Columbia University, the tone is it's been de-escalated, and we're seeing less acts of violence.
Hey, CB, really quickly, I understand that some of the family members of the hostages held in Gaza are suing. What are they alleging?
So they are accusing some of these pro-Palestinian groups of spreading Hamas propaganda. And in one specific allegation, they accuse one of the pro-Palestinian groups. They allege this group had prior knowledge of the October 7th Hamas attack. Obviously, that's a very serious allegation. My colleague, Alexis McAdams, reached out to that group. She has not heard back to my knowledge. But this is a story to watch here because we know the Trump administration is taking these ongoing demonstrations very, very seriously with the goal of protecting Jewish students and making it an environment where everybody can learn of all faith backgrounds.
Yeah, those are very serious allegations. CB Cotton, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks, CB.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.